This is the Successful Archi Students Podcast, episode 18. And by having a goal in your mind or written on paper more specifically, it's really going to drive you and help push you to getting more done, to staying motivated, to staying on track, because you've got a clear vision of what you're going for.
So you're an Archi student. You're smart, you're creative, and heck, you're ready to take on the world with your crazy designs. Before you get to that point, however, you need to build up the habits and the knowledge and the skills of a successful architect. And what most students don't realize is that you don't learn these things over time. Rather, you learn these things through experience and deliberate practice outside of your university education. My name's Kyle, I'm an Archi student just like you, and I'm committed to being successful, no matter what it will take. And I'm hoping you're ready to take that journey with me as you listen to the Successful Archi Student Podcast.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the podcast today, episode 18. Today I'm going to be answering a couple of questions I had sent in on the Instagram page. I've been getting questions pretty much every day. I get multiple DMs and emails asking me different questions about architecture and architecture school. And so rather than me typing like this long ass message I've got here where I had to spend 20 minutes writing, I'm going to just talk because I find it a lot easier to talk than type. So Mohammed, what's his name? Khawaja Muhammad Ali sent me a message saying a lot of stuff actually. He says, I'm a high school student and I have an interest for architecture, but I have a few queries about the field. I hope you'll be able to clear them up for me. So my questions are, 1, how good do you need to be in art for going an undergraduate degree in architecture? So how good do you have to be in art to be able to do architecture? And the point I made here was not that, but something that I've said a lot in my other videos, but I thought I'd clarify it in this video as well. And so what I say to this question is that you don't need any art skills whatsoever to be able to study architecture. And people might be thinking, what? But you need to be able to hand draw and create models and renders and all this stuff. You need to be artistic and creative. Yes, it's a good idea to be creative and artistic and to have those skills beforehand, but by not having those skills, it's not going to make you any less of an architect or any less of a student. So what I said to this was that, so I already have a couple of YouTube videos on this, and I'll put those links either in the description or in the cards in the top left or right, wherever the button is. And really what I say is that you don't need any art skills whatsoever. It won't make it any more difficult if you don't. And it won't make you any less of an architect once you graduate. The idea is that you learn all the necessary skills along the way, and there are no requirements to study architecture. So saying that though, any kind of art skills and creative skills will make you a better architect, but not having them won't make you any less of one. And so his next question was, 2, what is the difference between architecture design and architectural engineering? And this might seem obvious for some people, but for people that haven't done architecture or haven't done engineering or looked into it before, this is obviously something that needs to be answered. So the difference between architectural design and architectural engineering is that architecture design is focused on designing forms and spaces for clients, whereas the architect then sends off his work to an architectural engineer who does all the maths and all the calculations, etc., to make sure that the building is safe and that it will stand up and that it actually can be built. So engineering is a lot more mathematical, whereas the architectural design kind of side is more creative, although you still will be doing a lot of technical drawings and a lot of putting stuff together. But the engineer is the one that calculates it and makes sure that it complies with all the kind of principles and laws in the world that make things stand up. So then obviously doing architectural engineering is going to require a lot of physics and mathematical skills and a lot of software skills as well. And so his third question was, how much should I know about architecture beforehand leaving for college? And this is exactly the same as my first answer. You don't need any pre-requirements, but having the skills that I talk about in this other video is going to help you. It's just not having those skills isn't going to make it any worse. And so his fourth question really resonated with me because I feel like this is going to be something that a lot of you guys come across. And he says, as I'm making my mind up for architecture, I sometimes get a self-doubt that I don't know if I should or would be able to do architecture. Is this common, and how should I overcome this fear? So what I said to this is that everyone comes across this, myself included. It's not easy and it can be quite overwhelming, but just know that you've got this. As long as you are passionate, you'll be able to make it and you will go far. And so I've actually linked him to a video of mine as well that is one of the podcast episodes that says how to gain and keep your motivation to study. So if you're finding yourself getting self-doubt about if you're going to make it or not, or if you're going to do well, just make sure you're writing down your goals and you're reverse engineering them. So what that means is that you have a goal in mind, you have a dream that you want. You might want to be an architect, and you might want to own your own house, and you might want to have your own firm maybe. And so you got to reverse engineer from that goal, and you'll be like, well, in the next 10 years, this is what I need to do. And by having a goal in your mind or written on paper more specifically, it's really going to drive you and help push you to getting more done, to staying motivated, to staying on track, because you've got a clear vision of what you're going for. It's like if you don't have a vision, you don't have plans. It's like closing your eyes or wearing a blindfold while playing darts and trying to hit a target. You know what I mean? Trying to get the bullseye. You're only going to get it if you're lucky. So you're blindfolded and you're trying to hit the dartboard. The only way you're going to hit it is if you're lucky. And so the idea here is to have a clear vision, have a goal in mind, and that might be in the sense that you're writing down your goals on paper and you're giving it proper thought and analysis and making sure it's something that's doable and that's something is that you're passionate about, that is driving you. And so I honestly think that's the way you can overcome fear of not knowing if you're going to make it or not, because if you write down your goals, it makes it so much easier. You've got a clear vision and a clear target to aim for, and it's really going to drive you for the rest of the way that you need. So it really helps defeat this idea of running an uphill marathon. It's really going to help pull you rather than you trying to push it. And so I really hope that's answered your questions for you. And if anyone else has any questions, please feel free to ask them on the forums or send me a DM. I will answer them, and I usually spend a long time answering questions every morning. Every morning I'll check my DMs, check my emails, and I'll reply to everyone. Also, if you guys haven't read my book already, my new ebook, How to Ace Any Project in Architecture School, you have to check it out. And I'm so amazed at how many people have been enjoying it and how many people have been reviewing it and saying that it's changing the way that they study. And this is me kind of selflessly plugging my book, because I know that it's going to be so valuable to you, and I really want you to pick it up. And if you haven't already, please do check it out. The link is in the description. And if you want to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do by clicking the link in the bio or the description, whatever you call it, and you'll be able to get some other resources like that. You can listen to the podcast instead, or you can read the transcript, and you can also see some of the resources that I've been talking about in this episode. And one final message: if you guys are here and you haven't subscribed, you must subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out, and please do click that bell, because you'll be then notified about when I post a new video and you won't ever miss out on great content again. Please do like the video as well, because it really does help me, and please leave a comment, because I will read that and I'll get back to you. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Successful Archie Students podcast.